Good evening everyone. Myself Ashu Sharma. I welcome you all in series of cloud security. Today we will talk about some of the considerations. Those are very important in order to make sure that security about the data. So we start with these concepts, and before this there are certain points through which we can say there are major concerns about cloud security. Very first, before going in discussion, what exactly the cloud necessity? As we all know that nowadays data is one of the most important credential that anyone having. So to protect that data, and once that storage requires bulk of bytes, then we require cloud type of concepts that make sure that we have that privilege of security as well as storage. So these are two considerations which we can consider once we talk about the cloud security. Now there are several vendors, as Amazon is number one as far as the Amazon services are concerned, and utilities. Along with that there will be Azure, and lots of vendors are there. Those are looking towards that IBM and some others, Google products. So they all are get together looking towards the security in concerns of cloud. So this is that major significance having such kind of consideration. So here, as we see that when we plan for the cloud adoption as an organization, so consider the following area for cloud security. The first one is the compliance. Risk management is the second one. Identity and access management, operational security, and endpoint protections, and the data protection. So one by one we will discuss each of them. So first one is the compliance. When the organization migrates towards the cloud, they need to retain their own compliance obligations. These obligations can be dictated by internal external regulations. So generally when we have to submit the compliance report, it means to say that something this is already there, but we have to re-identify what are the pros and cons within the organization. So all factors those are dictated by internal or external regulations, such as industry standards that they need to comply with, support their business, and the model that cloud providers are using. So it must be able to assist customers to meet their compliance requirements. So one thing is there, once we talk about the compliance, that it's all about the customer necessity, that customer needs should be fulfilled. In many cases, cloud service providers will become part of the customer chain of compliance. So to enable customers to meet the compliance, it needs Microsoft uses three major practices, which are compliance foundation. Compliance foundation is number one, that in that practices, that is trustworthy technology. So technology should be adopted in a company, in an organization, that should be a trustworthy. There should not be any leakage of the data, which is the sensitive information towards the customers, and even for the company as well, for the employees. Second is under this compliance foundation is compliance process investment, how much that monetary cost is going to be invested when we just deploy such kind of process. The next one is the third party certification. So nowadays it is very important that we should, if we are using some third party software, so there should be certain agreements, some MOUs signed, so that we can say, okay, these are the certifications which are fulfilling this trustworthiness within the organization, and outside the organization those are associated with the companies and its services. The next that in the practice is assistance for the customers to meet their compliance needs. That is the transparency. Transparency should be there. If any protocol or rules and regulation float in a company related to the employee or related to the customer, that should be transparent enough, and it should be flowed in among the customers as well as among the employees within a company or outside the company, so that transparency should be reached. Next is the choice. So autonomous it sometimes works, but it's really a very good factor that the opportunity of anything that customers are independent to select, or to select the services and the utilities they are going to use or they don't use, so they may reject those utilities as well. So choice is another factor which is very important in terms of customers. Next is the flexibility. Flexibility is also very important. As I say you, there is a scalability factor. So some of the services, if customers don't want to continue, they have to those rights that they can eliminate those services from their account. So this is really very good nature if it happens in an organization at the time of the compliance submission. Next is the partnership with industry leaders. So development of standard frameworks. So nowadays, as technology is upgrading, so it's important that most of those technologies are using frameworks and integrated environments. So that should be there, that partnership with some industry leaders. This is very important. And next is the engagement with lawmakers and regulators. So sometimes what happen if in situations of chaos, if because of leakage of sensitive information or some other technical faults, even though some technologies are not proper deployed in a company as per the upgraded standards, so there should be some kind of engagement for such kind of disputes, and the lawmakers should come there and they resolve the dispute. So these are the things are very important. So once we talk about the compliance thing, one is the compliance foundation, under which there is a trustworthy technology should be adopted, and the compliance process investment as well as the third-party certifications are also important. Next was that assistance for customers to meet their compliance needs, in which there are again 3 points. That transparency, there should be crystal clear process that comes across around the company environment and outside the company environment, as well as the choice and flexibility towards the customers to adopt the services and the utilities, or to reject the services utilities if they are not in uses. And the last one is the partnership with the industry leaders, so development of a standard framework, so you may retain that quality control and assurance, as well as that engagements of lawmakers and regulations if there is any kind of disputes happens within a company or externally. So these are some of those important practices that should be there in the organization, and consider working closely with all the cloud providers, your organization's compliance needs, and verify how the cloud providers can fulfill your requirements. End of the day, your customers are your assets, so you have to bring that satisfaction among the customers for your services and utilities. So it is also important to verify whether the cloud service provider has a proven record of delivering the most secure and reliable cloud services at the time of one's service needed at the peak times of market, and it is important for cloud providers as well. So customers' data is private and secure as possible. This is very important once we talk about. So Microsoft Azure working in that direction. So this is one of that very important that consideration that should be deployed within the organization. So thank you very much being with me in this session. If you like my videos, please subscribe my channel, YouTube channel, and press the bell icon so you may get the notification of the latest uploaded video. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.